And welcome back to another episode of Generation Shock. That's right. It's your boy, the monster on the mic, here with these three lovely ladies. Super excited about this episode. We're talking a little Spider-Man No Way Home. Spoilers if you haven't seen it, but we'll get into that in a minute. Let's drop that intro. Yeah, that's right. I forgot to put up the new intro that has Tasha in it, but that's okay. I'll remember one day. Anyway, as previously spoken before, let's go ahead and put up this disclaimer. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. I don't know if I have any audio that's like, spoilers or something, but no, I don't think I do. Motherfucker. Oh, you thought I'd have something good for that, right? Like, that's all I got.
Wow.
That's all I got. Anyway, we were talking about, that's right, Spider-Man. And it's such a big topic, we decided that we're not going to talk about a Monster Week in sports this week. So we'll skip that and we'll save that for another week. This week, instead, we were talking about, damn it, lost that. Anyway.
Hey, that's why it's live. Anything goes in live, right?
Yeah. Wow. Hold on, let me see. It's right there, though. See it? It's on the floor. Yeah. Right there.
Like the movie. It's in the floor.
The drink started.
All right. Anyway.
That made no sense.
By the way, this is the only pop I own.
It wasn't we'll get started. Once we get started, we get started.
This is the only pop I own. The only one. I've never bought another one in my life, but I had to buy one with Spider-Man. He's so cute. Little eyes. Just go. Anyway, yeah. So, what did you guys think of the movie? I want to know. I want to hear. Oh, man, I've been doing nothing but listening to stuff. I am in my full J outfit for the day. You know, all I need is Silent Bob. That'll probably be Lewis. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to do some movie reviews for yous on the screen. But first off, let me introduce my beautiful co-host. As always, we have the lovely, the talented, the package handling Tasha. What's up?
Hey, guys.
Yeah, she knows how to handle that package, that's for sure. And we have the most beautiful man on the internet, as always. He always helps those ladies get over that hump. It's my boy, Phoenix. Born 63.
Yo, you already know.
And ladies, if you get in good, it's Phoenix born 69. Yeah. And last but not least, it's our fearless leader, the man who loves cheaters. It's my boy, Messiah.
What's going on, everybody? It's going to be an interesting night.
That's pretty perfect, Checkman. I'll give you that.
I like that one. So I missed that intro. Those intros were like, it hasn't been in a while.
Yeah, it hasn't. Listen, I apologize about last week. I was, a little under the weather. Nothing major. Just didn't feel good for whatever reason that day. No Omicron, nothing like that. Okay.
Sure.
But it's just, I feel my energy's back. My excitement's back. Super excited about this topic. So yeah, let's get right into it.
Look at Lewis's eyes. Messiah's eyes real quick.
What? What?
I was the only one that noticed.
As always, by the way, folks, please don't forget, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let us know if you like the show. And we want to hear your comments as the show goes on about your theories or different things about the movie that you liked, you hated, you didn't like, whatever it is. But should we first do a quick synopsis of the movie, a little breakdown? Or should we just go ahead and talk about like what we liked about it? What do you guys think?
Do the synopsis first.
All right, I'll do a little synopsis. Okay, so Spider-Man No Way Home is the movie we're talking about today, and it literally leads in exactly where the last movie left off, like scene for scene. It was so detailed that they weren't the same actors, but if you watch the last scene of Spider-Man Far From Home when they're in New York and J. Jonah Jameson says that Spider-Man's Peter Parker, there's people behind MJ, right? And there's three main characters behind MJ. They actually redressed and recasted 3 characters to look exactly the same. The only difference this time was in the end of the last movie, she didn't have the necklace on that Peter gave her over the summer, the Black Dahlia that was broken. And in this movie, she did. Yeah. Because that becomes a big symbol of things going forward. So it's a little bit like a precursor, right? So anyway, it picks up right where it ends off, and then you see time pass by, and as time passes by, you see his life and what he goes through with the world knowing who he is, find out he's a kid. Half the world hates him because they think he killed Mysterio. Half the world loves him, and now his family and friends are being pulled into all this. So it leads up into the winter because this took place in the summer, obviously. No Way Home, or excuse me, Far From Home ended in the summer. This leads up to the winter during the Christmas time, right? So this is supposed to be happening almost simultaneously or just before Hawkeye is going on in the Disney Plus series on Disney Plus. So they kind of coincide at the same time frame, right? So anyway, to get back to the movie, you see how he's dealing with things. He has to go into hiding. He goes to Happy Hogan's apartment. He ends up seeing that like Happy Hogan still has the original dummy bot that Tony made when he was in MIT, and he kept that as like a momentum because he was sad. Obviously Tony's gone, things of that nature. And you see him just try to go through his life, and he's like, how do I just make everybody forget that I'm Spider-Man? So he goes to Doctor Strange, and I think it was really cool. We find out Doctor Strange is no longer Sorcerer Supreme. He got dusted. So unfortunately his spot got taken by Wong. So that might be why Wong's out there doing all this crazy shit in the MCU. We've seen him already in a couple different shows, in different movies, and different things like that. Shang-Chi, yep. He was in Shang-Chi. Yep. So that's kind of cool. But he goes ahead and he gets them to do a spell. So Doctor Strange is using a spell that's supposed to help him forget. But as he's doing the spell, Peter Parker, Tom Holland, decides he wants to make amendments to the spell so that way people don't forget him, right? So specific, right? It starts with, he says, oh, well, I don't want MJ to forget me, right? Well, I don't want Ned to forget me. I don't want Aunt May to forget me. I don't want Happy Hogan to forget me. And then the last thing he says that messes up the spell is basically he doesn't want anybody who knew he was Spider-Man before to forget he's Spider-Man now, right? But the thing is, in order for Doctor Strange to collapse that thing into that cube, there were 6 things pulled out, but Peter Parker only said 5. So there's a lot of speculation going on that the 6th one is that Doctor Strange originally altered it before Peter Parker even said a word. And he altered it so that he would remember who Peter Parker was, because he didn't want to forget who Spider-Man was and everything that he did to help. So that's
when you say he, you're talking about Doctor Strange.
Correct. And that's why there were 6 elements that trapped in the spell that he put into the box, even though Peter Parker only screwed it up 5 times, right? So you see the multiverse start to break, it comes back together, and you think, oh, everything's fine. So Doctor Strange lets Peter know, like, hey man, why did you like even go and talk to the administration people? And like, no, I didn't do any of that. He's like, basically, like, what the fuck? You came to me.
Get the fuck out.
You didn't even try that shit? Get out. Yeah. Right? So Peter goes to the bridge and he tries to convince the MIT recruiting officer to like, hey, give them a chance. I don't care about me. I'm not important, but they don't deserve to not get into MIT because MIT shut them down due to the whole fact that he's Spider-Man and shit. Then all of a sudden, lo and behold, here comes Doc Ock. And I don't know all the actors' names, but it's the original one from the Tobey Maguire world, right? So Doc Ock comes on, and the reason he comes on is that was actually, I think that was the bridge, near the bridge he was at during the last movie or something. But he comes on, they have a big battle. Nanotechnology was a theoretical possibility in the Maguire world because Green Goblin had mentioned it, aka Osborn had talked about nanotech, so it was able to fuse with his arms. But the thing is Peter Parker, since he had nanotech was a real thing in his world, it wasn't yet there. He was able to control the nanotech and lo and behold, control the arms. And it was just a great scene watching him go like this and like this with the arms and just fucking toy with Doc Ock. It was fucking classic.
Fucking with him.
Just fucking with him. Dude, this movie was so well written and so well done. I fucking loved it. Anyway, So he goes back up to the bridge, he saves the people and everything like that. And then all of a sudden, here comes the Green Goblin, right? And so the Green Goblin comes in, Doctor Strange, whoosh, takes him away, locks up, and finds out that they're all the people who knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man are coming into this universe, right? So Doc Ock knew who Peter Parker really was. The Lizard knew Connors, who Doctor Strange had already captured, knew who Spider-Man was. The Green Goblin knew who Spider-Man was. And they're taken from different points of their own timelines, though. They're not all from the same exact moment, because obviously Doc Ock, Osborn was already dead, right? So they're taking different things from different timelines, right?
Yeah.
So they pull them in, and now he has to go and battle all these different people. So then he goes and they're like, okay, you got to capture him. He gives him this special little arm thing that lets him shoot magic out it. And the magic teleports him to the dungeon that they shot a movie in. I can't remember the 80s movie. It was really funny though. Anyway, so we get to that point. He battles Electro. He battles Sandman. They capture all these guys, and Aunt May instills in him that everybody's worth redeeming. Nobody's worth being a lost cause. So Strange is like, I don't care that they're all going to die by the hands of Spider-Man. They're all going back. Spider-Man's like, no, I can't let that happen. And they go in this cool battle scene, right? But before they get into the battle scene, he's able to do that little soul thing where he pops out of the body. And right. And the coolest fucking thing is this dude's out astral projection style, right? And his body's still fucking with the box, right?
Yeah.
Wiggling and shit. And it's like, that just shows like, so in the comic books, there's this thing called, so the multiverse, there's a multiverse and then there's a Spider-Verse, right? And the Spider-Verse is basically the multiverse is connected by intricate webs, like spider webs. And all the spiders throughout the different universes, their spider sense works off of that spider web, right? And so that's how they have that second nature instinct, because of the multiverse capability with it, right? So it was almost kind of like that was going on, where he's able to like, and then he flew back into his body, which, like, dude, Doctor Strange is the Sorcerer Supreme, and he can't do shit like that happen. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, Bruce, what's Hulk's name?
Banner.
Bruce Banner. Banner couldn't control that shit, right? And yet here's Peter Parker, some kid able to control that shit. And it's like, it's part of his spider sense and capabilities. Anyway, so they have a battle. Ned ends up talking about how he had the ability to use magic. They go to the Sanctorum, Ned and MJ, and Ned ends up getting a sling ring after Peter Parker traps, using geometry, Doctor Strange into the Mirrorverse. So Ned's able to open portals by like putting his feelings out towards who he wants, right? So he wanted to find Peter Parker. Only thing is, he finds the wrong Peter Parker. He finds Andrew Garfield. He hops in.
That was pretty badass.
Dude, then when they're telling him, prove you're Spider-Man, and he sticks to the ceiling, like, and she starts, stop throwing bread at me. And she's throwing fucking English muffins at him and shit. And then he has to climb on the wall.
I do have this sense, but not for bread. Should kill me. Should kill me.
Dude, fucking classic lines. He crawls on the wall, clears up the spider webs for the grandma. The grandma's just like, yeah, I'm done. And then in comes Tobey Maguire, and then they find him.
That one for me, that was badass.
For me, the first, my initial instinct, you know what I felt like when I saw Tobey Maguire? You guys saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the animated movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
He reminded me of the old Peter Parker, like that Nicolas Cage voiced. He reminded me of him. The mentor who was there to help, who ended up helping Miles Morales figure his shit out, right?
Yeah. Which, by the way, they bring him up in this movie.
Correct.
I know.
Well, this isn't the first time. They did it in the first movie. Miles Morales, we already knew, because remember, Childish Gambino wanted to be Miles Morales, but they casted him as his uncle instead. So he talked about on the phone when he's webbed up, yeah, Miles, I'm going to be late. So we already knew Miles Morales exists in the MCU universe. So that wasn't a shock, right?
Okay.
So he goes off and, but he comes in and it just really reminds me of that whole scene, that whole vibe, or he's going to be this like mentor figure, right? I forgot to mention though, before all this happened, the biggest spoiler of the biggest thing that everybody knew was coming, but still shocked the world more than any other cameo in the movie, Daredevil from
Yes.
Netflix.
Yeah.
That's who it was. I was
Yeah.
figuring out. I'm like, that's Ben Affleck. Well, Ben Affleck plays Daredevil in Electro, right?
Yeah, but that's not
Yeah.
Ben Affleck.
I know it's not Ben Affleck, but
Okay.
I immediately
Do you know?
said, wait a minute, that's I couldn't think of the name of the guy.
Charlie
I'm like,
something, I
man.
forget too. I don't
Yeah.
know names. I'm not really.
But it was Daredevil, right?
yeah.
Okay,
And that's why when the brick came through the window, he catches it and he goes, "How'd you do
I'm
that?"
a really great lawyer.
But the thing was, the thing was that's funny is you notice they're making him very similar to the comic book that he only represents superheroes, right? So
Yeah.
if you notice, he's like, Peter, you're going to be okay. Happy, you're in really bad legal trouble. He goes, you're going to need a really good lawyer. And Happy's kind of like, well, why aren't you going to represent me? You need a really good lawyer. That's why. And then he catches it and he goes, I'm a really good lawyer. So it's kind of funny how they kind of set that whole thing up there. Anyway, so they capture all the bad guys. He decides he's going to release them. He's going to try to fix them so that way they don't die when they go back to their own universe. So they're able to use a Stark machine, kind of like they did in the last movie when he built his suits and everything, or the first movie when he was on the jet, he built his suits and everything, or the second movie, I'm sorry. And he used that machine, same type of theory, right? So he builds these things, gets a little chip, puts it in Doc Ock's head, cures Doc Ock. All right. But the Green Goblin comes out and he decides he's going to fuck up the world. And so he turns everybody back. Electro grabs the arc reactor. So now he has unlimited energy, right? Green Goblin gets away. They have this huge battle. And lo and behold, he kills Aunt May. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Very sad.
Bro, that scene was
out of nowhere,
crazy.
Out of nowhere, Aunt May releases the famous line from Spider-Man. With great power shall come great responsibility. I forget exactly how she worded it, but she was the first one in movie cinema to actually say the exact words from the comic book. They kind of changed the words slightly in the other two movies where she actually said the exact line, right? So he's pissed off. He's mad. So
but she said that before he died. She said that way before, though. She said that.
She's never
She
said
that. She said
That's
that
the
right
first
as they
time.
were trying to walk out, but she was falling apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the first time in this Holland Spider-Man that he finally heard those words, right? So it was a real cool scene with that. I liked, and that's when everything broke loose. Then they find Peter because they figure out like every Spider-Man has a place they like to go, right? To unwind, relax. And they're like, oh, the Chrysler Building, Empire State Building. His is on top of his high school because he's a different version of Spider-Man compared to these guys, right? So they go and they find him and just the silhouettes of those guys up top and the way they hop down and shit, fucking goosebumps. Right?
Yeah.
And then he tries to be like, oh, you guys don't understand what I'm going through, what I'm feeling. And they have this real big emotional heart to heart as they all talk about, like, dude, we know better than anybody else in the fucking multiverse how
and
you're
they use
feeling.
the same line. He goes, wait a minute, how did you know she said that? He goes, because my uncle said it.
Correct.
I was like, holy shit. He goes, I wanted revenge. But there was a lot of stuff, there was a lot of parts in this movie that I thought was like, man, this is awesome. Like, really, really good.
Yeah.
Um,
So let me finish the
So
story
go
real
ahead,
quick. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll wrap it up. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, so basically they have their big battle on the bridge. They don't fight very well together because historically Spider-Man's a solo act, right? But because Tom Holland was involved with
It
the
wasn't
Avengers.
the bridge.
I said they go and they battle on the Statue of Liberty. That's what I meant.
No, you did say Statue of
You said the bridge. You did say the bridge.
No, you
They
said
go to
bridge.
Statue of Liberty. They have their battle, whatever. Anyway, same point. But so Tom Holland helps them to become more of a unit, and then Peter Parker is getting ready to kill Green Goblin for killing Aunt May, and Tobey Maguire steps in and is like, I felt that anger and stuff. Like, I'm not gonna let you do it, kind of. And so Andrew Garfield throws him the antidote, stabs him with the antidote, and then Peter Parker realizes at that moment it's time for him to truly become Spider-Man, and he has to sacrifice everyone and anything and everyone who knew him for the sake of the world and the multiverse. So Doctor Strange does it. Everybody forgets him. He goes to see MJ and he realizes he puts their lives in danger by admitting who it is. So he decides not to. And he gets his apartment. He's in the thing. He goes for his GED and the story ends. And then the cutscene, you get Venom getting drunk at a bar. like Eddie Brock
Mexico.
would, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he wasn't really in the movie, but he leaves a little drop of Venom. So they set up the possibility for a different version of Venom to show up at some point. So
yeah, to me, that was a sign. That was a sign that it wasn't going to be Tom Hardy either.
So there are speculations. There's a lot of different things going out there. You could be right, but there is a version of the world that it could be Tom Hardy because there's variants thanks to Loki, right? So it could be Tom Hardy, but they're going to make sure it doesn't interfere with the straight Sony production that Sony's doing alone. So they can still cast him into the Spider-Verse, but it's not the one we're used to from Venom. Because the thing is how do you can't take the one we know now and all of a sudden where he's like an anti-hero and make him just an absolute villain. It wouldn't really work. So how do you get around that? Okay, well, you leave a piece in. Tom Hardy could still play that character, but be the absolute villain. You know what I mean? So,
but he left it in Mexico. So does that mean we're gonna get a villain from the guy?
No, what it means is it's gonna be like you saw the first Venom, right?
Yeah.
See how many people that first Venom traveled on before he got to a host that was compatible. So there's a theory, for instance, let's say they do bring back Tom Hardy, that because there's a hive mind across the multiverse, this piece of Venom that's left knows that he's compatible with Eddie Brock. So he jumps on all these other hosts until he can find a way to get to Eddie Brock, who is now in New York instead of California.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So there's a lot of different things out there. But I want to hear, what's your favorite part?
Okay.
All right, who's going to start off?
I have many favorite parts. The fight between Spider-Man and Green Goblin, like at the house, the condo, whatever, badass. He kicked his ass. I was like, let's go. Through everything. I was okay.
You know what that scene reminded me of?
Mm.
It reminded me of Batman, Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
It reminds me of the scene where Batman's in the police station and he's punching the shit out of the Joker, and the Joker's just laughing at him, like, with all your power and all your might, you can't do shit. Can't do shit. Like, just laughing at him. And that's what I felt like when Peter Parker is just pounding the fuck out of the Green Goblin, and William Dafoe is just laughing.
Fucking laughing at him.
Loving every minute of it. Because part of him, it almost looked like his goal was to corrupt him. It wasn't just to beat him, he wanted to turn him. Right?
Yeah.
And that's that feel you got from that Batman movie, because that was his goal. So I didn't mean to, but go ahead, keep going.
No,
but I
you're
just
good.
that
Was,
like popped in and
it's all good. That was like, I love that scene, but I'm not gonna lie, I teared up a bit when Andrew Garfield saved MJ. I was like, yes.
Wasn't that cool? Wasn't that cool?
Oh my God.
She's like, are you okay?
It's like, I'm not okay. What the fuck?
And the thing is he learned from his mistake before that he wasn't going to try to save her with the web, and he made sure that he caught her this time because he didn't want to make the same mistake. And to see his reaction, he was such a good actor in this movie.
Yep.
Like you could feel the redemption in his soul. Like it was so well done, well done.
I freaking loved it. That was mine.
Nate,
all right,
Phoenix.
I had two favorite parts. My first favorite part is just the movie as a whole. They did it really well on introducing all the characters, giving them enough screen time, because you have to introduce basically 5 villains, 2 more Spider-Mans, in a 2-hour movie. So that's what I really liked. It was done correct. And then the other part was when Peter Parker and Dr. Strange were fighting in the Mirrorverse. That was dope. Fighting, bro. That was dope. That was definitely a dope scene.
And the way Spider-Man was able to keep up with him was pretty bad. And then when he figured out it was geometry, killed it.
He's like, you're good at math. You're good at math.
Yeah.
That was dope.
I mean, for me, well, first of all, I want to say this because everybody hyped the shit out of this movie. Like, hyped it. I'm not saying... See, the thing is, for me, it built. I was like, okay, now the movie's good. Is when the three introduced to each other. But before that, to me, I was like, I got the emotional part when his aunt died. I got that part, immediately got it. I'm like, and the role that he played, like you felt that pain. but it was if to me it's if what made me feel the pain more is when Pappy, that's his name, Pappy, right?
Happy.
Happy pulls up. His emotion, his instant emotion. Yeah, his instant emotion immediately was like, holy shit! Like you felt it immediately. He knew, fuck, right? But what made the movie for me was Toby when all three of them showed up for me. But like that was for me when they talked about, they introduced each other, who they were, and then when they're like talking about each other's like favorite villains, I thought that was pretty cool because Andrew Garfield, well, when he said, well, I don't only had this, and that, but you can tell he didn't have much to say, but the other guys had more.
Well, there was a funny line in that where they're talking about fighting aliens. He's like,
aliens. Fight an alien.
I've never fought an alien before.
Yeah,
but he also.
You were part of a team? Like you were part of a rack band?
But if you notice, well, so those things are very subtle, but they tie into other shit. Number one, if you notice that Tobey Maguire never went into detail about the alien he fought because that way Spider-Man, if he finds Spider-Man, the symbiote finds Spider-Man and bonds with him, right? With all the hatred he has that he's trying to let go of, he won't know what it is. So they made sure they kept it vague enough that he brought up he fought an alien, but not specific enough that Peter Parker will have any idea about that alien, right? Number one. And number two, the whole band thing was going back to the Infinity War when they tell Bruce Banner that they broke up, the Avengers are gone, they broke up. Like what, like a band, like the Beatles? Like, you know, that was a line he said in Infinity War about the team breaking up.
To me, the coolest part was when Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man, does this with the web. He said, "Wait a minute, that comes out of your skin."
Oh, that was fucking.
To me, that to me was like, "Yo, that's the real Spider-Man right there."
He's like, "Does it come out of anywhere else?"
So the movie did have a lot of funny moments. I believe the movie. I think the movies was well written. How they introduced all three of them. How they play the role. How they gave you, like you said, the silhouettes on the moon. And they all had their own landing. When they landed on top of the Statue of Liberty, they had their own unique landing. I was like, man, that's pretty cool how they did that. And I was happy when Tobey Maguire did pop out. I was like, holy shit, this is badass. They just did this. But to be the greatest, quote unquote, for people that told me, to be the greatest Marvel movie made so far, I don't think so.
Top 3.
It is the greatest Spider-Man
100%.
movie of all time. And
yes, the greatest Spider-Man. I agree.
I don't know about that.
Ever.
Maybe.
But the reason why it's the best.
Top 3 Marvel movies
I think
ever.
it's the best Spider-Man movie is because you have all three of them in the movie.
Top 3 Marvel movies ever. Okay, by far. No.
I would say top 5.
No. What are the 4 that are better?
So, Avengers.
Iron Man. Avengers.
Iron Man's not.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi's not.
Yes,
I would say Avengers. First Avengers.
The only reason Avengers I haven't argued yet is because it's like it was groundbreaking in my opinion, right? Like
and Black Panther.
And so I won't say that.
Then the Spider-Man.
Nope. Avengers, Thor Ragnarok, Spider-Man, my top 3. No specific order.
I would have put Thor.
No, Thor Ragnarok is one of the greatest cinematic Marvel movies of all time. That shit was fucking hilarious.
No, it's funny to you. Yes, that's
but
cool.
It entertained me from start to finish. From start to finish, like Civil War is in my top 5. I love Civil War, right? Black Panther, don't get me wrong, is a great movie. I'm not taking anything away from it, but entertainment, like at some point, these movies have to entertain you, right? Yeah. Because there's so many of them. You're gonna tell me that you weren't entertained in Thor Ragnarok? Like you weren't entertained from start to finish.
I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, it's top 3 of all time." No,
oh my god, it is.
Comparing it to freaking Avengers and this movie,
Endgame, I know Endgame,
and even that, like,
even that.
No, Endgame and Infinity War were okay. They weren't great. The build-up was good, but I don't know. It was a letdown. Listen,
here's what I think.
Let me give you
Spider-Man has too much hype though.
Because it deserved it. Okay, this is one of the best written. This is one of the best written movies of all time. That. Okay, the the dialogue, the humor, dude. They literally fit. You guys know that meme that's online where Spider-Man meets Spider-Man and they point at each other? They found a way to fit that into the fucking movie, bro. Like, are you kidding me? Dude, they're in the lab. And Ned goes Spider-Man or goes Peter. And they start pointing at each other. Peter, like me, you, me.
Yes.
Dude, fucking epic. Okay. The things, the banter. Now, I disagreed with you. The second the movie became amazing was the second that the Molina guy that plays Doc Ock entered into the movie. From that fucking moment on. No, listen, let me finish why. From that moment on, the movie got fucking great. Okay. So first of all, you see Spider-Man who's never seen this villain in his life. He doesn't know how to fight him because he shouldn't. But his natural ability and instincts let him dodge and duck and juke and do around things, right? And then when he finds out he's not Peter Parker or his Peter Parker, and he takes control and starts moving that shit, and then they capture the people, the banter between the villains that were locked up in the cage was fucking hilarious. Right?
I loved it.
The fucking, and then when they're sitting there like, what's your name? I'm Dr. Otto Octavius. No, what's your real name? Dude, fucking the lines.
But I mean, the movie was funny. I thought it had a lot of funny moments.
Dude, fucking, so it was.
Or when Ned is like, can you ask him if this is like a magical tree? And then the freaking Electro's like,
it's just a tree.
The dialogue in it was so spot on and so fucking great that the movie started. As soon as he came out, the movie just got fucking great. Like, that was my opinion. It didn't take, and then it turned up another level once the other Spider-Mans got there. And there's a lot of questions that we got to go over, and there's a lot of shit we got to talk about theory-wise, right? Because number one, why is it that the second that Garfield and Maguire saw each other, their first instinct was to fight? Why is that?
I mean, their senses were going off. I would assume their senses were going off.
Yeah, but why would your sense go off about a good guy?
They don't know. Is it a threat? Is it not a threat? So they immediately went to.
Well, remember, they didn't know he was Spider-Man until he fought Garfield. They didn't know Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man.
They both knew that they had to find Tom Holland. They knew that. But they didn't know who the hell the other one was. So they were like, wait a minute.
Yeah, so they fought each other. So once one initiated the fight, the spider senses on the other one took off and defended itself. Mm-hmm. And that's how they discovered that Tobey Maguire was the other Spider-Man.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yo, are you gonna fight looking like a youth pastor? That shit.
That was funny. That was. I tell you, they had good laughter lines in this one.
Oh man, the dialogue was the best ever.
I personally feel like I loved Andrew Garfield the whole time. He was funny as shit, like the funniest out of all three.
Dude, they brought back.
I think he's one of the best actors out of them.
They brought back some of the simplest jokes. They brought back the joke that was from Spider-Man 2, where he falls down off the car and he hurts his back, and he's like, "Oh, my back." Now, for those of you who don't watch some of the stuff I watch, that was a callback to after Spider-Man 1, Tobey Maguire went and did Seabiscuit. During Seabiscuit, he hurt his back. And they didn't think he was going to be able to actually be in the second Spider-Man movie, right? And then he was able to do the movie, so they made a crack at it by saying, "Oh, my back," from the Seabiscuit accident in the movie. But then they turned around and brought that shit back again in this movie when they're on the Statue of Liberty and they're like getting ready to battle. And he's like, "Yeah, my back hurts." He's like, "Come here, let me crack it for you," and shit. Like, dude, they literally looked at such detail.
You kept saying that you like the silhouette of the moon. I like the silhouette of all three of them. I was like, oh shit! Like
when they landed
the fight, when
they landed, they each had their own landing stand. I was like, holy shit, that was pretty badass.
So let's talk about theories. What have you guys heard about theories about this whole shit? Because I've heard a lot of shit, and I got a lot of shit I could break down. That you guys
like how Andrew
the multiverse.
I haven't heard anything.
Well, that's a different. I'm talking about theory just from this movie. That's a different theory. Yes.
The multiverse, when at the end when it breaks into the multiverse and everybody's leaking in, you can see the Rhino. I was trying to figure out who the other guy was.
The Hunter, Kraven the Hunter.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
But
there was some guy next to me while we were watching the movie. He was like, "Yo, you know who that is?" I was like, "Nah, bro." I don't know who he is.
So there's a couple plot holes in it, right? So number one, they say that everybody got pulled in that knew who Peter Parker was. That's Spider-Man, right?
Yes.
Electro never knew.
He didn't know?
No, he never knew that Spider-Man was Peter Parker.
Did he?
Not
Why?
not in the movies we saw.
Not even in the comic books?
I mean, maybe in the comic book, but we're not in the comic book. We're in the fucking movie. Like, stay on track.
I thought he knew him.
No. He met
I'm gonna go back
Spider-Man.
and
He
watch
never met
that.
Peter Parker. Remember, Spider-Man saved him before he became the Eels. Number one. Number two, why was his body, why was he not the deformed, buck-toothed, weird-looking dude that he was in the first movie?
He wasn't
Yo, he
like
was
that.
brolic.
He changed.
Yo,
Why?
After he got electrocuted, he changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
But he didn't
Hold
look
on,
like, but he
before
went
you
back
take
to his
it, yo.
normal body form in this movie. So why
Well,
would
he
he
got
have
a
gone to
better
the
body in this
comb-over
movie than what
and
he
the
did
buck-tooth?
when he first
Oh,
came out in the
I'm
movie.
saying, like, bruh, when he came out, on the first part, I was like, okay, he looked a little bigger. Yo, when he got the reactor, I was like, yo, this guy's on steroids, bro. Like, yo, this guy just.
But the
Yo,
question is,
and
why
the
does he?
classic, bro, like, what's up?
Why does he look like that? Because in the Spider-Man movie, in the
the
Amazing
juice.
Spider-Man movie, he was a nerdy, weird, awkward-looking motherfucker, right? So my theory, and it's just my own theory, my theory is it had something to do with he kept on talking about there was he felt different electricity in this world, in this universe.
Yeah, he did.
Different energy.
He said he
Yeah.
liked that
Different
world
energy, right? So I feel like the energy changed his body form because it was a different type of energy. So that's my theory behind it.
And weren't the
But
colors different
Tell me.
from this one and when he first came out?
Well, that's the point.
Yeah, he was blue.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah,
Marvel
exactly.
does it
Yeah.
better. Marvel does it better because you're gonna sit there. Number one, tell me the Goblin after he broke his mask, when he came back and he kind of looked like the Hobgoblin, but not quite the Hobgoblin because he didn't have the same colors. Tell me that didn't look like a scarier and a badass fucking Goblin than he did back in the Raimiverse, right? And then
Yeah.
Electro, dude. Did you see in the previews and at the end when he fucking goes at the Statue of Liberty and tries to the mask fucking comes up? Oh
Yeah.
my God, that shit was dope. Like they make these fucking characters better in the MCU than Sony does. That's what's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I just appreciate that he wasn't all blue. Forget
I actually
that.
like the yellow in him.
Dude,
He was
they did
supposed to be
it
yellow.
great. They did a great job
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah,
I
I think he was
think-
supposed to be yellow. I just knew that when he was yellow, I was like, yo, this guy's on
He's
steroids,
supposed
bro.
no,
Like,
his
I don't
traditional
want him.
outfit is this like corny fucking yellow and green, and he has this star thing on his face. There, Natasha knows, right? And
Okay,
it's just
I
this
haven't seen that
fucking
yet.
weird looking like spandex outfit. But they just made that version of it so fucking cool in this movie. Like I want to
think-
see more of him.
I think the Green Goblin in this movie, for me, besides Dr. Octavio, made the movie. He played the supervillain. Like he played his
William
character.
Dafoe
he
is
played-
great. My question is though, so here's the thing. There's some things that I have questions about, right? Number one, William Dafoe said he went to Oscorp Towers and somebody else was living there. So here's my question.
He did say that.
Oscorp
Yeah.
Osborn is a major player in the MCU. Like in the comic books, that's a major player, right? Are they not going to have anybody playing Osborn in the entire MCU? Like, is he not there at all? Because that's a little disappointing.
Well, I think probably in the next Spider-Man movie, probably. Right?
I get what
there's
you're
the next
saying.
one.
Like this universe should have a Green Goblin, basically.
Not a
I
Green
get you.
Goblin necessarily,
But like an
but an
Osborn.
Osborn. Because Osborn does
Yeah.
more than just that, right? Like Osborn has more to do with it than just the Green Goblin. So even if you don't make him the Green Goblin and you make Ned Hobgoblin, there should still be like his business, his industry creates so much villainy. Like there should still be something involved with it, I feel like.
Well, how about when the guy in the news pointed out and always makes
Jonah
Spider-Man
Jameson?
seems like a villain. He's like wherever he goes, he destroys everything. And then
He's
especially
always
when
done that though.
That's what he does.
He's
all the
always
time.
done that?
He's
Yeah,
always
he
done
hates
that.
Spider-Man. That's
Yeah.
that's so Spider-Man takes the whole joke, the running gag. So Spider-Man takes a job working for J. Jonah Jameson, but it's Peter Parker taking photos of Spider-Man. The reason he originally took the job was he thought if he gives him photos of Spider-Man saving the day, he can clear Spider-Man's name. Because obviously Peter Parker wants to clear his own name, right? But what he didn't contest with is that J. Jonah Jameson literally turns every picture in to an anti-slurring thing against him. So he literally flips those things on the side. So Peter Parker is using the income to survive while being slandered by the guy he's getting a paycheck from.
Yeah.
So
Messiah, do you remember like Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire? That's what happened because Eddie Brock was also working there and taking photos, even though they were fake photos, and that he was the Venom in that universe.
Yeah, and that
why Eddie Brock is still a journalist.
And that's also the same one where Sandman came out, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I like.
I think it was pretty cool how they kept the same role, the guys that played the same characters. The same actors.
But I like the continuity too, because like the Sandman, when he was first introduced, was not introduced as a villain immediately. He helped save Spider-Man because the last thing he had, they kind of came to an agreement and they were okay with each other. And then he really never was a villain. He even said, I don't care what happens. I just want to get back to my daughter. So however I'm going to get back there quicker, listen, the villains are going to get me there quicker. Fuck it. I'm on the villain team. Heroes get me there quicker. Fuck it. I'm on the hero team.
Yeah.
He just wanted to get back. That's all he gave a fuck about.
Here's my question. Who the hell was the six in the Sinister Six in this part? Because there's 5 of them here. It was supposed to be the 6.
There wasn't one. This wasn't a Sinister Six movie.
But it was should be. Like you're 5. You got 5 out of 6.
The problem is that I guess technically it would have been Venom, maybe, if you want to really go deep into it. Because think about it, there was 5 movies before this one, right? So there was 5. There was 6 villains.
No, 3, 4, 5. You're talking about all of the Spider-Man movies.
No,
3, 4, 5, 6.
the original.
You said 5.
Correct. There was the original 5 before the Tom Holland. So they're only bringing in the villains from the original 5. So Venom, I think almost the only reason they brought him in was in order there be a Sinister Six, if you want to go by that. It's because if you think about it, Tom Holland never fought any of his villains in this movie. They're all from the other movies. So the only other one that was missing from those movies was Venom. So there was a Sinister Six, but Venom didn't get involved. That's the difference. He decided to get drunk because he's a screw up.
Venom's like, we're done drinking, Eddie.
Yeah.
So. Let's go skinny dipping. Like, what the fuck?
So the question is, does Spider-Man come back to the MCU?
That is a good question.
That is.
Well, according to the next trailer that takes off after this movie is Doctor Strange 2.
Do you know why? So do you know why Doctor Strange 2? Do you know why that trailer looked the way it did? Do you know why he sought out Wanda to help him?
No, I was asking Phoenix that. I'm like, why did he start out for Wanda to help him?
Do you know why?
Nope.
Because the motherfucker wiped his memory about what he did.
Did he?
Think about it. He had to wipe everybody's memory of Peter Parker.
Well, you said the 6th one was his.
Was Venom. Not Dr.
No,
Strange.
you said the 6th. No, you said when
When
Tom
he
Holland
has
was
the
fixing the 6th one.
Correct.
Was his.
The original one. But remember, he had to fix it. When he fixed
at the end, you're talking about at the end.
Yes, he wiped out everybody. So what happened is he broke the multiverse working with Peter Parker. But the problem is now, because he had to wipe everybody's memory, including his own, which is why he said the line, well, I love you too, Peter, right? That emotional point at the end was leading up to the Doctor Strange movie, because he tells him he loves him because he was going to try to remember him so Peter had somebody in his life. But now he can't do that. So Doctor Strange doesn't remember how he broke the multiverse. So the only other person he knows that was able to change reality is Wanda. So he seeks out Wanda because he doesn't know how the fuck this happened to begin with. But he doesn't know that he was the one.
Okay, so I'm not familiar with the Doctor Strange part of Marvel, but is that a variant that we saw at the end? Like, what is that?
In the trailer?
Yeah.
Yes. So Have you watched the
Him in the black suit is badass.
I've seen Loki.
No,
I know
have you
about
seen
the
the What
Evil
If?
Strange, bro, you already
I
know.
can't hear you. Shush. What?
Have you seen What If?
No, not yet. I need to.
Okay, so I'm not going to spoil it too much, but there is an episode where Doctor Strange. There's these things that we find out.
What If the show?
Yeah, so we find out in What If the show, there are moments in time that are called absolute points. Okay.
Okay.
Meaning, if you find a way to change that absolute point, you destroy your universe. It will collapse in on itself. So there's an episode of What If where Doctor Strange tries to stop Rachel from dying, which is his love interest, right?
Yeah.
We find out that that's an absolute point. And so he takes on all these demons and all this energy and becomes this like evil sorcerer supreme and destroys his entire universe by trying to save her because he disrupted the absolute point.
Okay.
Okay. And so the MCU is setting that up because there are points in time that can't be changed.
Well, yeah, because they use a quote on the trailer where he says, the multiverse, we don't even fathom. We don't even understand.
But what I'm saying, though, is that there are points in time, the MCU has announced, there are certain moments in time that can't be altered from any point, like at all. Like it will always happen. There could be a billion different multiverses, but there's a fixed point in time that this always happens, no matter what.
So, like in all the Spider-Man movies, when somebody significant dies.
Well, no. That when the line is said, for instance.
Okay.
Yeah, right? Like, well, yes, they die. You're right. But I don't want to assume they die to do that, right? But yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. That's an absolute point.
It was the turning point in every Spider-Man movie that when someone
significant dies. Yeah.
So yeah, you're probably right. So that's like an absolute point in all timelines. It has to happen. And if you disrupt that, everything falls apart. Now, here's something I want to know if you guys noticed. Do you know what these three movies together were actually, what they actually meant? Do you know what the Tom Holland 3 movies were?
Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home.
Yep.
Or No Way. Yeah.
Yeah, No Way Home. Do you know what they were?
Yeah. I just seen what people were talking about, like he was an excited kid and it just turned to this. That's all. I don't know if that's what you mean.
Basically, what it is this was the first time that Marvel's ever done a 3-movie origin story. All 3 movies were the origin story of Spider-Man.
All 3 Tom Holland movies?
Yes. The origin story of Spider-Man. So where the other 2 franchises did all of it in 1 movie, they did it in 3.
How is it a Spider-Man origin?
So think about the first movie in every single one. What happens, right? You get Peter Parker bit by a spider. Yeah. Now, granted, we didn't see it on screen, but he talked about it, right?
Yeah.
Number 2, he battles with his newfound powers and figure them out. Number 3, he has Uncle Ben, or in this movie Aunt May, die and say the lines that make him who he is. He battles with the anger of that death in those movies, right? And then he moves on to New York to go become Spider-Man. There's a reason they made a point that they said, where's his favorite place to go and get away? And the other 2 Spider-Mans were in New York because that's what those movies were about. An older version, more mature. This Spider-Man's never been there yet. At the end of the movie, there's a reason they set up the apartment and him being in the city and all that.
Because now
he's not in New York?
Yeah.
Yes, he is. I thought he was in New York. I was like, then why do you say move to New York?
He moved to
like New York? Like
well, he moved to the city. Like he was he was in a borough before, but now he's in the
Queens.
city. Yeah, but he's in the city now, right? And so all 3 movies were building up to, that's why they did a soft reboot, basically. Yeah. Nobody knows who he is. Now, going forward, you're going to get the actual Spider-Man that you remember from the comic books. He's living in New York City. Nobody knows who he is. He's on his own fighting crime.
So you're saying Tom Holland's going to play 3 other movies? They're going to do 3 other movies?
Supposedly, he signed a contract for 3 more. Yes.
I'm here
which would make sense, right? Because this one, he didn't grow up. we were watching him grow.
This was the origin story, exactly.
Yeah.
We watched the
All three of
origin
them was
story
okay, I see what you mean.
of
was the origin story.
Spider-Man. Now we're gonna see him because you know what? That's why the scene was of him making his own costume, right? Him flying through Rockefeller Center, right? All the shit we think of for Spider-Man, because the Spider-Man we grew up with didn't have Stark Tech, didn't have nanotechnology. That's not who Spider-Man is. You know what I mean? Like Spider-Man makes this like
now it separates him from Marvel.
That's my point is that he could be separated into a Sony version going forward.
Possibly.
Regardless, it doesn't matter. But this was a 3-movie origin story of Peter Parker and Spider-Man in the MCU. And now they have a full clean slate to do whatever they want with him going forward.
I love it.
And it separates him from the Avengers.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
So wait, these
even better, it separates him from Young Avengers because that's what's coming next.
These 3 movies took place in what, like a year and a half, 2 years?
About 2 years, let's say. More like 2
years. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's little stuff that we didn't notice. Like, so there was a magazine cover in the beginning of the movie with Liz on it saying that Peter Parker's a liar. You guys remember Liz from the first movie?
Oh.
The Vulture's daughter who he took to Homecoming?
Oh, the date. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That he was attracted to before he got with MJ. She's on a magazine cover talking shit about Peter Parker, saying how he's a liar since he got her father thrown in jail.
Arrested. Yeah. Who was it? I can't remember. Who was it the person that the Vulture was talking to in jail at the end of that movie?
That was Gargan, who's supposed to be the Scorpion.
Ooh, Vulture? What? Wait, I'm lost.
So the Vulture, who was Michael
the villain
Keaton,
in the first one,
he went to jail, and at the end of the movie, he's talking to an inmate who's like, "Hey, rumor has it you know who Spider-Man is. What's his name?" You know, and it's Matt Gargan, who is also the Scorpion in the series. So they could eventually, because the Scorpion's never been in a movie, they could be a villain at some point.
Okay.
Interesting.
The only thing that's disappointing is we want to go into double spoilers.
Yeah, go ahead. Fuck it.
So, Hawkeye, right? Last episode aired today. So we got Matt Murdock in Daredevil, but we also got Kingpin in Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So Spider-Man and Kingpin have a long history of battling because he's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Kingpin is the guy of New York. Like they have a small little world going on.
He's the king of New York.
Yeah. Like the last scene of the show was a gunshot with Echo shooting a gun. Well, we believe it's Echo shooting the gun, but it was Echo and Kingpin. I can't say the name tonight. Fucking A.
I believe in you. You can do it.
Yeah. Anyway, he shoots the gun at Kingpin, and it goes up though, so you can't see it. Shoots the gun, and like you don't know if Kingpin dies or not. KP dies or not. Right? Fat Man dies or not. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like I hope we can see them as adversaries going forward. That'd be pretty cool.
Do you think this Kingpin's gonna make an appearance in the one of the 3 Spider-Man movies?
I hope so. He needs to be a villain in it. He's like, it's just
who do you think will play him?
The same guy who's playing him now from Netflix. That's who they introduced into the MCU.
I want to see Felicia Hardy, Black Cat. Like I want to see her. I feel like they just need to bring some freaking females in here too.
Well, here's the thing: they brought Mockingbird into it, but she's retired. Oh my God, you guys gotta watch. You want to know who the best? You know who my new favorite Marvel character is? But once again, you have to watch Hawkeye to see it. Yelena Belova, Black Widow's sister. You guys seen the Black Widow movie?
No.
Oh my
Not
God.
yet.
No.
She's by far my new favorite Marvel character. Oh my God, dude, the way her banter and the way she talks, dude. Go watch Hawkeye and tell me that she's not fucking epically hilarious, super good at what she does. Like I don't like a lot. I know it sounds racist or sexist. I don't like a lot of
Sexist
female
too.
characters, right?
I knew it.
Like,
I fucking knew it.
I don't know. There's just, until we get into the X-Men. X-Men, we are not there yet. I love a lot of the female X-Men characters, but like Black Widow, okay, she was okay. Nothing really didn't do anything special for me. Captain Marvel, not a huge fan of the way they portrayed her.
It was whack.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, it's not great. But Yelena Belova as the new Black Widow and her banter with Kate Bishop, which is the new Hawkeye girl, right? That he trains. Dude, they may be some of the best fucking banter I've ever seen in a Marvel cinematic unit. Like it was rivaled.
So
the
Hawkeye is
Spider-Man
worth
movies.
watching.
Oh my god! I liked it, but the
I
banter
see
with
Loki.
Yelena,
I thought Loki was interesting.
Loki was great, but Yelena Belova, man, she was fucking
let's
great.
let's
Great.
talk about the end credit, where they talk. Well, we
You
already
talking
talked
about
about
the,
Doctor Strange. We already talked about Doctor Strange. We already talked about
Venom.
Venom. Well, let's talk about the trailer, the Batman trailer, the new Batman trailer.
So hold on, okay, go ahead. I can't because it's part of my fuck out of here.
Oh, okay. All right, so
Then
we'll
no.
save it. We'll save it for your fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, yeah, save it for another day.
Yeah, we're actually, guess what? We're at that time.
Okay, let's
Hold
go.
up. There's somebody wrote something on
Spider-Man's
the actual chat.
So
See, it never
yeah,
tells me. It's never
Kingpin
telling me
is
who's in it.
alive. So there is a version of Kingpin where he gets blinded. He's right, and he takes on a similar depiction to Daredevil because not only is he a big villain to Spider-Man, he's a huge villain to Daredevil because Daredevil is a very Spider-Man-esque villain, hero, where he's contained to New York City. He's not out in the world, even less than Spider-Man is. And Kingpin is a very local villain. So yes, that is absolutely correct. That could be the case.
Here's a question. Not now that I found out who this guy was, the lawyer. Do you think they're gonna make a movie with him?
No, I think he's going to be a bigger part of TV shows.
Oh, okay.
I think so. There's an Echo show coming out, and if they make a blind Kingpin,
Bro,
I think he could be in the TV shows.
Speaking of that, I like vampire movies. Morbius or Morpheus? What is it? Morbius. It's gonna be a badass movie.
So
Morpheus is gonna be a
have you guys heard of this? So do you guys
Morbius.
see in the movie Spider-Man where they had the billboards for the Rogers musical?
The what?
The Rogers musical about the Avengers, but they called it Rogers, the musical. Like he swings by the billboards and shit. It's a musical like they do in New York.
Like, who notices shit like that? Usually, probably don't notice shit like that. Yeah, he was swinging by, and then there was an ad on the newspaper.
No, there's a lot of shit that you notice. So anyway, at the end of Hawkeye, the cutscene at the end of Hawkeye, the last episode, is
I know what you're about to say. There's a plaque.
No, is them literally doing the entire final number of the Broadway show. It's horrible. It's so bad to watch, but it's so funny. Because their catchphrase in the musical, because every musical has like that one line or that one musical number. I could do this all day. Oh my god, it's funny. You have to watch it. There's some good shit in it. You gotta watch it.
I'm off tomorrow. I'm about to binge watch this shit.
Yeah, you'll like
tomorrow.
it. I think it's good.
Tomorrow I'm watching the new Matrix movie.
All right. Anyway, let's go into fuck out of here.
Let's do this.
God, this intro is horrible.
It's like the new Spider-Man movie.
All right. Whoa. I will black you out of this fucking chat right
Fuck
now.
out of here, that comment.
Yeah, fuck out of here, that comment. Cocksucker. Anyway, who wants to go first? I can go first if no one else wants to.
You go first.
You have a story to tell.
All right.
I'm interested in your story.
Right. So, Thursday afternoon, the Thursday that it dropped, I wasn't planning on going to the movies, but I live in a shit punk town with like, I don't know how many people that just fucking jerk off their horses at night.
Oh my God.
That's what they do. They jerk off horses. It's the horse capital of the world. They just, fucking big splooges all over the fucking curtains, all that shit, right? So I'm literally able to buy a ticket to the opening day at 3:30 in the afternoon in IMAX. I'm like, there should not be tickets available. Like, what the fuck is this? Fuck out of here with that, right? But I buy a ticket, so I go and I watch the movie, right? So the previews come on, and there's a couple previews coming on. Next thing I know, right, there's a preview for Spider-Man, right? So I'm thinking to myself, this is a first. I'm trying to think back. This whole time I'm like thinking to myself, scratching my head, you know, like, wait a minute. Have I ever seen a preview for a movie
that
I'm
you're
about to go watch?
Yeah.
What do
That's
you
crazy,
think about
right?
that one? No, I never have. Oh, well, I mean, my popcorn lathered in butter, just lathered that shit in butter, right?
You sure it wasn't horse cum?
No, well, horse comes white, butter's yellow. I knew
God.
what I was getting into. So that was once I got home from the movie. Anyway.
Jesus.
Anyway, so I'm like, okay, no big deal, right? Next thing I know, it's no longer 20th Century Fox because they sold it, right? 20th Century Productions come up. And I think to myself, wait a minute. This is a Sony movie. Why does it say 20th Century Productions? Okay, maybe I'm just high. I don't know. I'm not, though. But maybe I am. Maybe I have residual amounts of weed in my bloodstream, and it just decided to seep out today, right? Next thing I fucking know, shot of a destroyed town. New York, decimated in destruction and rebuilding. Motherfucker had one job. Put on Spider-Man No Way Home. Motherfucker put on West Side Story. Oh my God. Fuck out of here to the guy in the theater who thought we wanted to watch West Side fucking Story. Here's the kicker. Hold on. Here's the kicker. Literally, no lie. There was a seat in front of me, right, in the next row up. Two to my left is this chick that shows up in cosplay, fully decked Spider-Man outfit. Okay,
So she's like, what the fuck?
hold on. This chick immediately jumps the fuck up out of her seat when it shows the title for West Side Story, right? And goes out. The theater, like 2 minutes later, the theater goes completely pitch black. And then they restart it and get ready for the movie as she comes walking in. And everybody, you would have thought she was fucking the real Spider-Man in fucking real life. The entire theater stands up and starts fucking clapping because she's the one who told the people we had the wrong fucking movie on and got us No Way Home. But the downside is I saw no trailers during No Way Home because I was watching fucking West Side Story. So the only trailer I got was for the goddamn movie I'm about to go fucking watch. Fuck out of here. Regal Cinema.
Were there that many trailers? There was Sonic, for sure.
Well, there was Sonic.
Didn't see it. Didn't see it. Didn't see it.
So Ambulance, Sonic,
Didn't
the
see it.
new
Matrix.
Morbius,
Didn't see it.
Matrix,
Didn't see it.
Sorry, man.
Uncharted, and
Yeah.
Didn't see it.
what was the other one? Fuck.
I think that's it.
No,
there was
the
one
movie
more.
Batman.
And Batman. Yes, Batman.
Didn't see it.
Okay.
Because
Oh,
West
they
Side
said it.
Story, why would the West Side Story have all these related fucking comic book themed or like, you know, event like make believe shit? No, of course. I get these fucking whack ass movies that I'm watching and I love previews. I watch all these whack ass fucking previews like, man, this is lame. This is
You
fucking
got
lame.
gypped.
Next thing I know, Spider-Man comes on. And I said to myself, this isn't right. When do you watch the preview for the movie or watch? Why are they giving me spoilers for the fucking movie I'm about to watch? Fuck out of here, Regal. Jesus Christ. I never.
That
I
sounded
never.
loaded.
He was pissed. Take your drink. You deserve it, sir.
You don't understand. Like I told you guys, you couldn't make that shit up. Like how am I the motherfucker who gets stuck watching West Side Story?
They just assumed with your hair.
Yeah, I think
Head
that's what it
scratcher.
was.
It's a head scratcher.
All right, next FOH.
I'm dead.
Hey, nobody
I
can
don't
compete
have
with
any.
that.
No? I have one. I mean, I'm just tired of fucking working 15 hours a day, but it's almost over. Don't roll your motherfucking eyes. Don't roll your fucking eyes.
Oh my God, for
West
1
Side
month out of
Story.
the year, my work is hard. The rest of the time, I just fucking get off at 4 o'clock every day.
Bullshit. Who gets out at 4 o'clock? I'm not a regular. I would be lucky to get out at fucking 4 o'clock. I get stuck helping everybody and their fucking mother.
Take longer on your route, bitch.
Yeah, okay. To still get sent back out at 7 o'clock at night. But it's dark. Doesn't
How
fucking
come my
matter.
friend who's a post office worker said that they have to shut you off at no later than 8 o'clock? They can't make you work past 8.
Because district says that we're not supposed to drive past 8 o'clock. It's unsafe at that point. Any scan hit after 8 o'clock is considered a failure. So we're not supposed to scan anything past 8. But these people don't give a fuck. This office is bullshit. Like this.
They're like, fuck it, get out there and get some mail done.
Yo.
It's Christmas. You want to ruin people's Christmas?
God damn it, just handle my package.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Amazon's paying us a lot of fucking money. We need to deliver
There you
this
go.
shit.
That's what it is. Yeah. See, he finally nailed it. Nail on the head. Beak.
It's literally fucking Amazon and Walmart because apparently we have a contract with fucking Walmart and they're ruining our lives.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Like the USPS doesn't belong to itself anymore. Just it's
No.
like contract.
Everybody else's bitch.
All right, who's next? We got to wrap it up. Make sure we don't have no babies tonight. We got to wrap it up.
So, my Fack Outta Here is going to be after recently discovering that the Patriots did cheat.
Hold on. Please speak it to the mic when you say that.
All right. So, after
Nope, don't fucking say a word. We're saving it for next episode. Monster Rican Sports. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyways,
I need way more time to discuss
I'll change
this.
my FOH. I'll change it. Look. So my FOH is this. Stop getting fucking upset because you're waiting in line for so long and you waited for fucking the last minute to do your Christmas shopping. It is not my fucking fault that we don't have it because you waited to the last week to fucking shop.
Oh,
Fack Outta Here
listen.
with that shit.
Motherfuckers walking in and saying, do you have this or do you have that? With 2 days left into the fucking holiday. Guess what? We had it 2
What do you
weeks
mean
ago.
you don't have the
Shut
free
the
light
fuck
bulb
up.
that comes with this? No, motherfucker. It was while supplies last. We don't have it.
What do you mean you don't have a Switch in stock? You have no PS5s? No Xbox
But it said in
X?
store only. Yeah, in store when we had it. Did you see the other print where it says hot item while supplies last? Yeah, you missed that part of the line. Fuck out of here.
It's almost over, guys. It's almost over.
Just remember, anybody out there doing Christmas shopping, send all your packages to Claremont. That's where Natasha works, right?
Asshole. You know what? That's fine. At least we don't have horse cum on our faces.
Well, I mean, can't help it. Fuck.
It's
Asshole.
tasty.
Good sense of protein. Anyway, Nate, you got anything?
No.
All right, I got something real quick then.
Chill week.
So,
Okay.
real quick, we forgot to go over one little segment, and we're not going to go over the whole segment, but there is one announcement we have to make, and it's our high of the week. And our high of the week is our esteemed colleague, the most beautiful
Phoenix.
man on earth, our boy Phoenix Born 63 has finally reached his goal, and he is a graduate now with a bachelor's degree. And I think everybody out there needs to give him a round of applause because that is not easy to come by. Nate, we love you. Congratulations, dude. I know the amount of hours you put in. It's almost as many hours you put into Hot Wheels. Almost, but not quite. But yeah, man, honestly, just from us to you, we're really proud of you, dude. That's a really huge accomplishment. You should really be proud of that, man. And I can't wait to see what you're to do with it, man. So congratulations. And that's my high of the week.
Yeah,
I think it's safe for all of us to say that.
Yeah, it was a long journey, but I just appreciate the big man upstairs. Got me through it. And yo, I'm telling you, that Friday and Saturday, I was crying. every day. Like I'm tearing up right now just thinking about it. But it was brutal. I was like, bro, I'm never gonna finish this thing. I'm looking at this like, bro, I have 16 weeks to go. You just gotta finish. And
It's
you know what? I go and I'm walking across the stage, and I'm just like, I'm here. Like this is it. And all I hear from the corner of the arena is my brother screaming, and I was like, oh, they're over there. Okay, I found them now.
That's my brother.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say I'm disappointed about is that Generation Shock's there to film it live. You know what I'm saying? To be able to put it on our channel, but maybe next time.
Oh no, they wanted no phones. No phones. Like once we were switching from the holding to the next part, they were like, yeah, no phones.
Oh,
and I was like, okay, no phones then. Yeah, it was
Okay.
interesting.
Well, congratulations,
It was a
man. We're
private
proud of you. You really made us, really happy
Thank
for
you,
you
thank you.
and what you're doing. You're doing big things. Can't wait to make you my financial advisor. Hire you one day. You know what I'm saying? So
I appreciate it. I got
Shit,
you.
he's my financial advisor.
problem is we want him to be right, but he's gonna be too busy fucking pelling Hot Wheels to fucking financially advise us. Fucking guy over here. Hey, you know what? Let me go through 4 years of college, right? Fucking make my life miserable. Probably have like $100,000 in debt. I don't know, maybe, whatever it is. But you know what? It's all for me to sell Hot Wheels to fucking kids or men, grown men who are 80 years old across the world. That's what I'm going to use my bachelor's degree for. Selling fucking Hot Wheels.
He sells it, and I ship the ship.
Yeah. You guys are a little team over there. The two of you, right?
So you also work for Nate Industries.
Yeah. He packages and you just move his package. So cute. Fucking A. Fuck out of here, both of you. No, but for real, man. Congratulations. Super proud of you, man. Like, excited about your next chapter of your life, man.
Will do. Keep
All
y'all
right.
posted.
So with that being said, we are way over time. We just have way too much fun all the time. So with that being said, we're good night. We love you.
Thank you, John. I just want to chat my fault.
Until next week, though.
Yeah, and Spider-Man is not the best Marvel.
Fuck off.
Man.
Patriots are cheaters.
We're working on the next one, too.